All right. My name is David Figs. I've owned a Gen 2 Raptor. I've owned a Gen 1 Raptor. And now I own the new Ranger Raptor. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about the 5 things I love about the Ranger Raptor. Let's get it. So before we get started in today's video, I want to comment on the last video I made about the 5 things I don't like. First and foremost, if you guys think I don't like this truck, or I hate this truck, or I have buyer's remorse, that is not what the video was intended for. The video was intended to talk about 5 things that I've noticed owning the truck the past 3.5 weeks. And I got a lot of good feedback from you guys on the folding mirrors, the vents for the rear, all of that stuff. The settings, there's a lot of adjustability in the settings that I haven't really done a ton of. So I want to thank you guys that watched that video, commented on that video, but I want to be very clear. I have zero buyer's remorse, zero regret on getting this truck. And with that, let's talk about the number 1 thing I love about this truck in my first 1,500 miles of ownership, less than a month of owning it. It is the size. It is the capability, it is the performance, it is the nimbleness, the agility, all of those features that describe this truck's ability to be nimble, to be light, to be agile, not only on the road, from a daily driving perspective. If you are either owning this truck, thinking about owning this truck, and you have a family, or you don't, or you daily drive, or whatever the case may be, there is something to be said to having a full-on Gen 1 Raptor or Gen 2 Raptor and driving in a metropolitan city. It's somewhat challenging at times to park, right? It barely fits in a parking spot. It's not a deal breaker, it's not that big of a deal, but it is a challenge, especially from a daily perspective. Having said all that, this truck is much, much smaller. I think there's like an 8-9 inch delta between the width of this truck and a width of the F-150 Raptor, and it's extremely noticeable in a good way. The other thing is off-roading. When you are off-roading, unless you're in wide open country, being able to go flat out, the size matters. The size matters. The size matters on what trails you cannot do. It matters on pinstriping, right? Certain trails are a little bit more narrow. It matters on taking the right line. Now that could be a good thing, a bad thing. A wider truck can get through some things easier potentially than a more narrow truck, vice versa. But I am telling you, the characteristics of this truck off-roading in a Baja style environment is unbelievable. It is so playful, and I cannot wait to take it on dirt some more and really start testing it and getting more dirt time with this. So all that said, my favorite thing about this truck is the nimbleness, the agility, the quickness, the weight, the power. All of that makes this truck an amazing, amazing package. Number 2, my wife even brought this up to me the other day when she was driving it. It feels unbelievable. It feels from what you're touching from a steering wheel, the shoulder, armrest down here, the plushness of the center armrest as well. everything from a driving perspective, forget about the capabilities off-road, just from a pure driving perspective, how the seat feels, all the touch and feel is incredible. I am curious, whether you're small, big, or in between, if you haven't sat in one of these before and you're concerned about the comfort, please try to find one. Your mind will be changed as soon as you sit in it and as soon as you drive. The other thing that makes it really, really good from a comfort perspective is these live valve shocks. I was just driving my brother's Sasquatch, and he doesn't have live valve shocks, but you could feel almost every imperfection on the road. You felt it every single time. And because of these live valve shocks, even for daily driving, it's unbelievable. You don't, like, you float, it has that Cadillac float like a cloud feeling, and it's incredible. And then when you're off-road, you put it in off-road mode and it feels amazing. Number 3 is the price point. With everything, every single car getting higher and higher and higher in price. The Gen 2 Raptors, I think, started in the mid-60s. Fully optioned, 70s, if not 80 grand. Not to mention markups when they first came out. The Gen 3s, 80 grand plus. You get the 37 package, fully loaded, you're in the 90s. The Bronco Raptor is in the 90s, if not 100. They started discounting them like crazy. Ford started doing rebates on them like crazy. This truck, arguably fully loaded, outside of graphics package, the bed spray, the beadlock capable wheels, the engine block heater, like minor things like that. I think all in all it goes to 60 grand fully loaded, from a base price of $55,000, and you get live valve suspension, you get a Bronco Raptor motor. Like, that is crazy. That is crazy. So much so that you look at the competition, the ZR2 Bison, 35-inch tires, which is great. It looks great. It has a bunch of AEV stuff. That truck is $65,000. And I think that's what it starts at. The new Tacoma Tier D Pro Trail Hunters start at $65,000. This truck is arguably more capable than both of them. ZR2 Bison, I think, is a better rock crawler than this. At a 10% or a $10,000 delta less. So for me, the price point, the feel, the looks, everything that's capable in this truck for 55 grand is awesome. This leads me to number 4. And number 4 is the Bronco Raptor comes with a 3-liter twin-turbo V6. And that truck, when it first came out, was over $100,000. Not even talking about markups, right? They've done a ton of rebates, and the price has been dropping pretty significantly on those. But at the end of the day, they're still over $80,000. That motor is in this truck. And this truck is $55,000. I am so impressed with the power plant of this truck. This truck, if you don't know, won the Baja 1000 in its class with stock powertrain, stock motor, right? It's one back-to-back Finks, which is the equivalent of the Baja 1000 Australia for the folks down under. Same exact truck, same exact powertrain. This powertrain is tested and proven to be very good. And for the size of this truck, for the weight of this truck, to have this power plant, again, that is a part of an $80,000+ Bronco Raptor, is unbelievable. Unbelievable. It sounds great. The aftermarket for this is growing from tuning, intakes, different exhausts, all these different things that you can do to the motor to really even open it up even more. I'm sure with a couple bolt-ons and or just a tune, I wouldn't be shocked if this truck or this motor could hit 500 horsepower. To the crank, not to the wheel, to the crank. But I would not be surprised if this thing with a couple bolt-ons could hit 500 horsepower, which is absurd. So that is number 4. And I'd say the last but not least, number 5, is the entire cabin space, the entire interior. From the layout of the screen to the code orange on the vents, the code orange stitching, the code orange Raptor logo on the steering wheel, code orange center stripe on the steering wheel. All these little touches all over the seats, all over the stitching, on the actual shifter, in the back seats. I am so impressed that Ford did something like this for a truck at that price point of $55,000. I've had buddies that has a Gen 3 and he gets in it and he's like, wow, this is actually really nice. I think you put this up against the Taco, you put this up against the Bison, you put this up against any of the mid-range trucks and potentially some of the full-size trucks, and this will hold its weight. I think from the sporty seats where they have the extra bolstering on the sides, everything about it, everything is incredible. And I am so glad that Ford was able to do something like this at the price point that this truck is at. If you guys have stayed until the end, thank you for watching. Again, from the very beginning of this video, I want to be very clear of my last video, the 5 things I don't like. It was very difficult to find 5 things I don't like about this truck, but I wanted to call out some of the things that I had noticed, and some of those items have already been rectified through settings and hearing what the community is telling me. But that's it for today. I got a ton more installation videos coming up. I'm just trying to find the time to do it. So if you want to watch more Ranger Raptor content, please comment, please subscribe. Let me know what you want to see. Until next time, peace.